We are living in a broken world. It wouldn't take long in watching the news at night to realize the world we're living in is broken.
I mean, we've outlawed God. We have taken all these things out of our culture and made unimportant things important.
And let's take a look at our society today. We see envy, hatred, murder, division, evil speech, lying has become the order of the day. Now we see the killing of innocents. In every society that starts to distance itself from God and moves into the utter depravity starts to sacrifice their children in the name of convenience. And do we have a more glaring example than the recent law that was just passed in New York State on abortion? Not only passing a law, but looking at our state legislators and the people around, literally patting each other on the back and smiling as they sign a law of slaughter of the innocents, and lighting up a building here in New York City, sticking their finger in the eye of God, daring God to judge the city, might I add. A license to murder for convenience sake in many cases. Unthinkable, unfathomable that a society could become so barbaric. After signing this ungodly law, they should have hidden their closets in shame instead of lighting up a building here and celebrating murder. We see division coming into our society on almost every level. And so the question arises, who is behind the obvious degenerating social condition of our day? And he was described in Genesis chapter 3 as a cunning serpent. And he came down in that garden with a seething hatred in his heart for humankind, created in the image of God, with a purpose. Jesus said in John 10:10, he came to steal, to kill, and to destroy. That was his purpose. That was his mission in the garden. That's what the devil is here for. That's what he does. Thank God one day he's going to be bound and thrown into a bottomless pit forever. But in order to accomplish his purpose, he knew he would have to separate that bond of unity between God and man. And to ruin you, to bring you and I into spiritual ruin, to render our lives ineffective, and actually to have us partakers of evil, all he has to do is to separate you from God. And this he did. In Genesis chapter 3 and verse 5, he convinced the first man and the first woman that they could ignore the boundaries which God had set around them and determine by themselves what were acceptable standards of right and wrong. It's exactly how he broke the unity between Adam, Eve, and God. You don't have to live inside of God's rules. You are made in the image of God. Therefore, you can determine in yourself. You can be a judge of what is right and a judge of what is wrong in yourself. And doing this, no harm will come to you. And he succeeded in breaking that unity in the garden. What can you and I do about this? Recognize that the cross is God's invitation for you and I to come back to him again. The cross is the tree of life regained. Everyone who wants to come to him now can. The way has been made back to God, back to unity with God, back to life in God. Just like in Luke 15 with the prodigal son who recognized he'd been far away from his father, there's a voice of God calling us as the people of God back home to him again. My son, my daughter, get up, you can come home. Just come as you are. Come with your shame, come with your trials, come with whatever, even with murder in your heart, whatever's going on in your life, just get up and come home. And as he met his father, he found life. He found a covering for his shame. Today, I want you to know that your shame can be covered, no matter what you've been doing or how you've been behaving. If you're willing to get up and come back and live God's way, there's a covering for your shame. There's a hope for your future. There's life that God offers you. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. John 10:10. But the second half of that verse says, but I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly. Life that can only come from God. Life that can't be found anywhere else but in Christ. Life that is offered us at the cross, where we can go and say, God, I don't have the love I need for this generation. And God says, no, you don't, but partake of me. I have all the love you will ever need to love the unlovable and make a difference in your time. I don't know about you, but I want my life to make a difference. Come back with a desire to walk in unity with God, and come back to unity both with God and with each other. Pray that your life might make a difference, and watch what God will do.